Hey everybody, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm taking a look at a game that goes from 0 to hero in no time flat. Hercules, maybe you mean Huncules. They put his face on every vase, every vase. Let me show you how this one plays. This is a family weight, like a younger family game that uses a mathematical mechanism. You roll some dice and do some math. So let me show you what this one is all about. Here's the setup of the game. Players are each a different color apprentice trying to complete the 12 Herculean tasks shown across the bottom of the board here, i.e. roll dice, do math with them, remove cubes, and then collect cards for points. Each round, all players are going to roll their dice, and then starting with the first player who has the Pegasus card, they're going to take their dice and do some arithmetic. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, and they're going to come to a number. So for example, 4 minus 3 equals 1. So the blue player is going to remove then their number 1 cube, the cube from the number 1 spot. A few things happens here. First, because I use subtraction, I would grab this card and add it in front of me. This is going to be a subtraction card, and I'm trying to complete either a whole set of the 4 different functions, or I'm trying to have the most of each different type of function at the end of the game for points. So I would take this card, and also grants me a special ability that I'll talk later. I take the number 1 cube and set it there in front of me, and then my apprentice moves because there's now available space to move directly in front of me. When your apprentice moves, they're going to then collect the God card at the top here, who is going to be worth 2 points, and also grant a special ability that you can use at some point on your turn. So I've now collected these cards, and that would be my turn. The next player is going to go ahead and do something. Red will do 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So they're going to do division. They'll collect this card, which has no ability, but is worth straight up 2 points, and then they're going to remove their number 2 cube and set it in front of them. Now you'll notice that there's no direct available space for their apprentice to move, so they won't. The reason you might do this, and all players would complete the round, the reason that you might do this is that if the red player were able to remove all of these cubes, then on a later turn, they're able to do something like 6 divided by 6 equals 1. So they would take another division card, good for them. But more importantly, they would remove the number 1 cube, and their apprentice would move all of the available spaces now, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. That's important because these cards over here reward you with a lot of points for moving a lot of steps at once. Because they moved 4 steps, they'd grab this card worth 6 points. The next player to move exactly 4 steps would get 4 points. If you're able to move up to 7 spaces, you can get 15 points all at once. Players continue to do this until at least one player reaches the number 12 spot. They've been able to move their apprentice all the way to the end. Whoever moves across here first gets the Zeus card worth 5 points, and you finish that round. So let's say that yellow were the first player to do it. They grab the Zeus card. You finish the round, green can go. If green can get to the end, then they can collect the Pantheon card, also worth 5 points, and then you would do endgame scoring. Now there's a few other little manipulations you have here. You notice that each of these cards down here has an ability that you can use. So the blue player on their turn could, if they wanted to, instead of using their own die roll, if they didn't like it, they could spend one of the cubes they've collected and activate this bonus right here, where they could look at another player's cubes and use them instead of their own. This one over here allows you to rotate your dice. You can add the 3rd white die to your roll, and so you can then use 2 of those 3 numbers. You can adjust the value of the dice up or down. These God cards up here are going to do the same thing, except you don't have to spend cubes. You can just simply flip them over, and you've activated, in this case, Aphrodite, who would give you the ability to use one of your dice as a 6 instead. Or this one at the end of the game counts as a green multiplication card, because when you get to the end of the game, you're going to go through here. How many points do you have on cards? Who has the majority of each of the functions? This one here, if you ever use a 6, you could grab this card instead of one of the function cards. Or if you use a 1, so on and so forth. You add up who has the most of those. For complete sets, each you score 5 points. Leftover cubes is 1. And that's Hercules. I think that Hercules has all the right characteristics that it should. It's bright, vibrant, it's very inviting. It is geared, like I said, towards, it says 8+ on the box. And I think that, hey, you know what, that's pretty good. You know your multiplication, your division and stuff by about that age. And this is a good game to kind of reinforce some of those principles. but also there's a good strategy game here. There's some games that are math the game. And I've enjoyed some of those. Outnumbered Improbable Heroes was on a review not too long ago, where it's pretty much a math game. This one is not so much a math game as it is a game that uses basic math skills as kind of the driving mechanism underneath a full game. I really like the idea of, do you go and get every cube in your path so you get all of those God cards along the top? Neat, that's a race there. If you get them first, nobody else can, and those are points and special abilities. Or do you do what, like I showed in the overview, where you eliminate a bunch later, then get rid of this one cube right in front of you and just zoom forward? Because if you can move those 7 spaces, 15 points is a lot of points in this game. I think that also the idea of manipulating dice and having just enough powers to kind of keep you interested and invested, that's good. Younger kids playing this aren't going to do as well because of just understanding the nuance of when do you want to try to invest in these things. And I think that there's a little bit of procedurality where I think and your 8-year-old is a genius, I promise, but the average 8-year-old might not understand and will need help following all of the steps of a turn. It is decently procedural. You can also do a rest action if you don't want to do the regular action, where you can, instead of getting rid of cubes off of the board, you could rest. You could reset your God powers if you flipped them over. You can take back 3 cubes off of powers that you have spent. At the end of the game, leftover cubes you have are points. So if you can't quite get points, then at the end of the game, maybe resting to get some of those cubes back for points. There's some little nuances there that I think younger people playing this game and be like, yes, math, Hercules, that's not going to be the way that they approach the game. And I think that some of those things do matter in terms of this game is a race and you're trying to get the most points in it. I think it's good. I think it's not overwhelming. So let me be clear and say that I don't think that this game isn't for kids. I think this game is great for kids. I also think it's fun enough that I've played this with a group of adults and we all had fun with it. It's very light, it's very approachable, but like I said, there's enough going on in it that I have fun with it. I could definitely recommend this for families. I definitely wouldn't recommend this necessarily for your adult game groups only, but if you've got some kids and you want to do something with a little bit of math reinforcement, there's way worse options. This one is actually fun. And like I said, actually a game. So let me be clear, your kid's a genius. I'm sure that they will never struggle with anything ever, but if your kid is anything like mine, some of the little nuance of this game might go over their head. Daughter, watching this in the future, sorry I'm using you as a point of comparison to everybody else's genius children that do not struggle with any game rules or game flow whatsoever. Hercules, I'm recommending it. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. I think this is fun, and I think that if you have kids right in that range, and if you think that this one might be a good fit for them, I'm willing to bet that it probably will be. Even if they are past the basic arithmetic drills, I still think that there's enough of a game here that you're going to have a good time. So that is Hercules. This is from Meebo Games, designed by Fabio Lima, art by Roman Kaczurski. I think the art inside the box is better than the cover. That's my other little critique here, that this one doesn't jump off the shelf as well. When you see it spread out, it looks great. My thoughts on Hercules. Thanks so much for coming by another Dice Tower review. My name is Chris Yee. Have yourselves a great day. 0 to hero, no time flat. 0 to hero, just like that.